Welcome to your channel name Stoic Courts. In today's video, we're diving into the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy to uncover 11 things you should quietly eliminate from your life for greater peace, purpose, and inner strength. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, understood that living a meaningful life is about focusing on what truly matters and letting go of the distractions that hold us back. So if you're looking to cultivate more tranquility and resilience, stay tuned as we explore these powerful life lessons and how they can help you lead a calmer, more intentional existence. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a new video. Number 1. Excessive worry. Excessive worry is a common issue that many individuals experience at different points in their lives. It is the constant dwelling on potential problems, future uncertainties, and worst-case scenarios, often to the point of overwhelming a person's thoughts and emotions. This constant cycle of fear and anxiety can be mentally exhausting and physically draining, affecting one's overall well-being. While occasional worry is a natural response to challenges, excessive worry can become problematic, leading to heightened stress and anxiety. It can manifest in various forms, from worrying about everyday situations, such as work or school, to concerns about health, relationships, or even global issues. This relentless cycle of negative thinking often spirals out of control, leaving individuals feeling trapped in their own minds, unable to escape the constant barrage of fearful thoughts. One of the most concerning aspects of excessive worry is that it rarely leads to any positive outcomes. People who worry excessively tend to focus on what could go wrong, rather than on solutions or ways to improve their circumstances. They imagine catastrophic outcomes and believe that worrying will somehow prevent negative events from occurring, which is not the case. In fact, research has shown that excessive worrying can actually increase the likelihood of feeling anxious, stressed, and even depressed. The brain becomes wired to constantly anticipate danger, making it difficult for individuals to focus on anything else. This can lead to a state of heightened alertness that makes it hard to relax, even when there is no immediate threat present. Furthermore, excessive worry can have significant physical effects on the body. Chronic stress caused by constant worrying can lead to a range of health problems, including headaches, digestive issues, insomnia, and muscle tension. The body's fight-or-flight response, designed to help us respond to immediate threats, is triggered by excessive worry, leading to the release of stress hormones like cortisol. When this response is activated too frequently, it can take a toll on the immune system and overall health. Individuals who struggle with excessive worry may also experience difficulty concentrating or making decisions, as their minds are preoccupied with potential problems and scenarios. The underlying causes of excessive worry can vary from person to person. In some cases, it is tied to a person's personality traits, such as perfectionism or a need for control. Others may worry excessively due to past experiences, such as trauma or childhood anxiety. The rise of social media and constant exposure to negative news can also contribute to heightened worry, as individuals are constantly bombarded with information about the world's problems. Additionally, certain mental health conditions, such as generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, can lead to chronic worry that feels uncontrollable and disproportionate to the situation at hand. Coping with excessive worry requires a combination of self-awareness and effective strategies. One of the most effective methods is practicing mindfulness, which involves staying present and focused on the current moment, rather than getting lost in hypothetical scenarios. Mindfulness techniques, such as deep breathing exercises, meditation, and progressive muscle relaxation, can help calm the mind and body. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is another proven treatment that helps individuals identify and challenge their negative thought patterns, replacing them with more balanced and realistic perspectives. It encourages individuals to recognize that worrying about the future is often futile, as it does not change the outcome of events. Creating a structured routine, engaging in regular physical activity, and maintaining a healthy sleep schedule can also help reduce the physical symptoms of excessive worry and improve mental clarity. In conclusion, Excessive worry is a common yet harmful habit that can negatively impact both mental and physical health. It often stems from a fear of the unknown and a belief that worrying will somehow prevent negative outcomes. However, excessive worrying rarely produces positive results and can worsen anxiety, stress, and other health issues. By practicing mindfulness, challenging negative thoughts, and seeking professional support, individuals can learn to manage their worry and regain control over their thoughts and emotions. Number 2. Fear of failure. Fear of failure is a powerful and often paralyzing emotion that can hinder personal growth and achievement. It arises from the belief that failure will lead to rejection, humiliation, or loss of status, which can prevent individuals from pursuing their goals or trying new things. At its core, this fear stems from our desire to succeed and meet expectations, whether self-imposed or societal. When we set high standards for ourselves, the prospect of failing to meet them can seem unbearable, often making us doubt our abilities and worth. This fear can manifest in various forms, from procrastination and perfectionism to avoidance and self-sabotage. The impact of the fear of failure extends beyond our professional lives. It affects our personal development, relationships, and mental well-being. It can prevent us from taking risks, trying new experiences, or stepping outside of our comfort zones, all of which are essential for growth. By staying within the confines of what feels safe and familiar, we avoid challenges that could lead to learning and self-improvement. In relationships, this fear might manifest as a reluctance to express vulnerability, fearing that showing weakness will result in judgment or rejection. Similarly, in social settings, people might hold back from pursuing their passions or sharing their true selves because they fear the judgment or criticism of others. While fear of failure is a natural human response, it often has a more significant impact when we don't recognize its influence. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more we avoid or fear failure, the less likely we are to take action and the fewer opportunities we have for success. This cycle of inaction can cause a person to become stuck, unable to break free from their own limiting beliefs. For some, the fear of failure becomes so ingrained that it leads to anxiety and stress, exacerbating feelings of inadequacy and reinforcing the cycle of avoidance. Overcoming the fear of failure requires a shift in mindset and the willingness to embrace failure as a part of the journey toward success. Rather than viewing failure as something to be avoided, it can be reframed as a valuable learning experience. Every failure holds within it the potential for growth, as it offers insights into what works and what doesn't. Successful individuals often attribute their achievements not to an absence of failure, but to their resilience in the face of it. They see failure as an opportunity to adjust their strategies, refine their skills, and try again with greater insight and determination. One key to overcoming the fear of failure is to break down larger goals into smaller, more manageable tasks. This approach not only reduces the pressure but also provides more frequent opportunities for success and feedback. With each small success, individuals build confidence and develop the resilience to tackle bigger challenges. Another important strategy is to shift focus from the outcome to the process. By concentrating on the effort and the lessons learned along the way, the fear of failing becomes less about the final result and more about the journey itself. Additionally, it's essential to surround oneself with a supportive network of friends, family, or mentors who encourage growth and resilience. Having people who offer positive reinforcement, guidance, and perspective can alleviate the fear of failure by reminding us that setbacks are not final but part of the learning process. These individuals can help us regain perspective and encourage us to keep moving forward, even when the fear of failure seems overwhelming. In the end, the fear of failure is not something that can be eliminated entirely, but it can be managed. By recognizing its presence, reframing failure as a learning opportunity, and taking small steps toward action, we can reduce its power over us. Failure is not the end of the road but a stepping stone to success, and embracing it allows us to grow stronger, more resilient, and ultimately, more successful. Number 3. Need for approval. The need for approval is a deeply ingrained psychological trait that influences much of human behavior, often dictating how individuals perceive themselves and their interactions with others. At its core, the need for approval is the desire for validation, acceptance, and recognition from others. This need often stems from early life experiences, where individuals are taught to seek approval from caregivers, teachers, and peers in order to feel loved, valued, and secure. Over time, this conditioning becomes internalized, shaping one's self-esteem and emotional well-being. For many, the need for approval can become so overwhelming that it drives them to constantly seek affirmation, sometimes at the expense of their own authentic desires and needs. In modern society, the pressure to seek approval is amplified by social media and a culture that emphasizes external validation. Platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, where users constantly post images, videos, and updates, create a cycle of approval seeking. Likes, comments, and followers are seen as measures of self-worth, making individuals more prone to seeking out praise and acknowledgement from others. The constant comparison to others' seemingly perfect lives can lead to feelings of inadequacy and a compulsive desire for external affirmation, fostering a sense of dependency on others' opinions to feel good about oneself. This need for approval can have both positive and negative effects on an individual. On the positive side, seeking approval can motivate people to work harder, engage in positive behaviors, and foster a sense of belonging. It can drive individuals to achieve excellence in their careers, relationships, and personal growth as they seek validation for their efforts. However, when this need becomes excessive, it can have detrimental consequences. Constantly seeking approval can lead to self-doubt, anxiety, and a lack of self-confidence. Individuals may become overly concerned with how others perceive them, often altering their behavior or personality to fit societal expectations. This fear of rejection or criticism can result in people suppressing their true selves, leading to a loss of identity and emotional fulfillment. The need for approval can also be closely tied to perfectionism. Individuals who seek approval may feel that they must meet certain standards of performance or behavior in order to be deemed worthy of acceptance. This can create a constant sense of pressure as they strive to be perfect in the eyes of others, often at the expense of their mental health and well-being. Perfectionists may be highly self-critical, fearing that any mistake or flaw will lead to rejection, which only exacerbates the need for approval. In relationships, the need for approval can also play a significant role. Individuals who crave approval may become overly dependent on others for validation, making it difficult to form healthy, balanced connections. They may prioritize the needs and expectations of others over their own, leading to feelings of resentment and emotional burnout. This can create a toxic dynamic in relationships, where one person's self-worth is tied to the approval of another, rather than a mutual, authentic connection. Breaking free from the need for approval requires developing a strong sense of self-worth that is not dependent on external validation. It involves cultivating self-acceptance and embracing imperfections, recognizing that validation must come from within rather than from others. Mindfulness, therapy, and self-reflection can help individuals understand the root causes of their approval-seeking behaviors and work towards building healthier, more self-reliant self-esteem. By learning to value themselves independently of others' opinions, individuals can begin to reduce the hold that the need for approval has on their lives and live more authentically and confidently. Number 4. Unnecessary comparisons. Unnecessary comparisons have become a pervasive part of modern life, particularly with the rise of social media and the increasing pressure to constantly measure ourselves against others. These comparisons often arise from a subconscious desire to find validation, belonging, or a sense of worth. However, they can be damaging and lead to feelings of inadequacy, envy, and frustration. One of the most harmful effects of unnecessary comparisons is that they distort our perception of reality. On platforms like Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, people tend to showcase only their highlights, vacations, achievements, and moments of success, while hiding their struggles, failures, and everyday challenges. This curated version of life can create an unrealistic standard to measure ourselves against. When we compare our lives to the seemingly perfect ones of others, We ignore the full spectrum of their experiences, focusing only on what appears to be ideal or enviable. This can lead us to believe that our own lives are lacking, even though they may be far more fulfilling and complex than what is portrayed online. Another consequence of unnecessary comparisons is the erosion of self-esteem. When we compare ourselves to others, whether it's in terms of career, appearance, or relationships, we are often setting ourselves up for disappointment. Most of the time, these comparisons are not fair or accurate. For example, someone may feel inferior because they don't have the same career success as a friend, without considering that their friend might have had different opportunities, resources, or advantages. Moreover, people tend to forget that everyone has unique strengths, weaknesses, and circumstances that can't be neatly compared. The process of comparing ourselves to others often overlooks the intricacies of personal journeys and the work that goes into achieving success, leading to an incomplete and unfair assessment. The impact of unnecessary comparisons extends beyond just personal well-being. It also plays a significant role in perpetuating a culture of competition rather than collaboration. In many areas of life, whether it be in the workplace, in academic settings, or within social circles, comparison fosters a mindset where people see each other as rivals rather than potential collaborators. This can create an environment of isolation, stress, and unhealthy competition, where individuals focus more on outdoing each other rather than supporting one another's growth. The result is a lack of genuine connection, as people are more focused on their own standing in relation to others rather than the value they can bring to a collective effort. Moreover, unnecessary comparisons can make it difficult to appreciate our own progress and achievements. Constantly looking outward prevents us from turning inward and recognizing our own growth. It's easy to overlook the small victories and personal milestones when we are too focused on what others are doing. This can prevent us from experiencing true satisfaction and contentment with our own journey. It's important to remind ourselves that personal progress should be measured by our own standards, not by comparing ourselves to someone else's timeline or achievements. While comparisons are natural to some degree, helping us gauge where we are in relation to others, unnecessary and constant comparisons can be paralyzing. Instead of fostering growth, they can create a sense of stagnation, as we may feel like we will never measure up to the people we are comparing ourselves to. In reality, everyone's path is different, and success doesn't look the same for everyone. The key is to focus on personal growth, setting goals that align with our values and aspirations, and measuring success based on our own progress. By removing the pressure of constant comparison, we allow ourselves the freedom to embrace our unique journey, take pride in our accomplishments, and cultivate a sense of self-worth that is not contingent upon the achievements of others. Number 5. Resentment. Resentment is a complex and potent emotion that can significantly shape an individual's thoughts, actions, and interactions with others. It often arises from a perceived injustice or wrong, whether intentional or accidental, and is rooted in feelings of hurt, betrayal, or frustration. The emotion can be triggered by a variety of circumstances, such as broken promises, unfair treatment, or unaddressed grievances. However, resentment is not merely the result of an external event. It also involves a personal interpretation of that event. How one perceives an action, whether it is seen as deliberate or unintentional, can determine whether resentment festers or fades. At its core, resentment is about feeling wronged or slighted in some way, which can lead to a desire for retribution or reconciliation. The longer resentment is allowed to simmer, the more entrenched it becomes in a person's psyche. It can grow, overshadowing reason and distorting perceptions of reality, as those affected begin to view the world through the lens of their injury. As a result, resentment often triggers a cycle of negative emotions, anger, bitterness, and frustration, feeding off one another and reinforcing a sense of injustice. This cycle can manifest in many ways, such as passive-aggressive behavior, withdrawal, or even outright hostility. One of the most dangerous aspects of resentment is its ability to erode relationships. When people hold on to resentment, it can silently poison their connections with others, whether in family, friendships, or workplaces. Resentment builds walls between individuals, as each person may become consumed by their feelings of injustice instead of communicating openly or working through the issue. Misunderstandings often multiply as time passes, as both parties may be unaware of the growing resentment or may be unable to express their emotions in a constructive manner. In relationships, whether personal or professional, the unspoken resentment often leads to a breakdown in trust and communication. The offended individual may distance themselves, retreat emotionally, or react in ways that are disproportionate to the situation, leading to further hurt and division. Over time, resentment can manifest physically as well, contributing to stress, anxiety, and even depression. The emotional toll of carrying resentment is not just psychological. It can manifest as chronic fatigue, sleep disturbances, and an overall decline in health. When not addressed, it can affect a person's sense of self-worth, as unresolved resentment may lead to feelings of helplessness, as if the injustice will never be corrected. Yet, resentment is not an emotion without potential for resolution. While it may be difficult to let go of feelings of wrong or betrayal, addressing the underlying issues is essential for emotional healing. Self-awareness is key to recognizing when resentment is taking root. The first step toward overcoming resentment is acknowledging it without judgment. This allows individuals to process their feelings and begin the work of healing. It's important to identify the sources of resentment, whether they are rooted in past experiences or current misunderstandings. By bringing these feelings into the open, whether through conversation, therapy, or journaling, people can start to release their grip on the negative emotions associated with resentment. Forgiveness, while challenging, can also be a powerful tool in moving past resentment. Forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean condoning the actions that caused harm, but rather choosing to free oneself from the grip of bitterness. It involves recognizing that holding on to resentment is ultimately more damaging to the person harboring it than to the person it is directed toward. Additionally, shifting one's focus from the past to the present and future is crucial. Releasing resentment opens the door for growth and emotional freedom, enabling individuals to live more authentically and with less emotional baggage. Ultimately, resentment is a powerful emotion that can shape the course of a person's life if left unchecked. It can corrode relationships, impact health, and lead to a cycle of negative thinking. However, with self-awareness, open communication, and the willingness to forgive, resentment can be transformed into an opportunity for healing and personal growth. By addressing resentment, individuals can regain a sense of peace and restore the emotional balance that is often lost in the throes of unresolved conflict. Number 6. Self-pity. Self-pity is a deeply ingrained emotional state where an individual feels overwhelmed by feelings of sorrow, helplessness, and victimization, often over circumstances that seem uncontrollable or unfair. It's a cycle that traps people in a mindset of helplessness, preventing them from finding solutions to their problems or moving forward in life. When someone succumbs to self-pity, they often find themselves focusing on their misfortunes and neglecting the opportunities they have to change their situation. This mindset becomes a barrier to personal growth, as it leads to a sense of stagnation and a lack of initiative. It's important to distinguish self-pity from genuine grief or sadness. While it's normal to feel sorrow in the face of loss or hardship, self-pity tends to linger in the realm of poor me and is often characterized by an ongoing, exaggerated sense of personal suffering. One of the most destructive aspects of self-pity is its tendency to isolate individuals. When someone falls into this trap, they may feel as if no one understands or cares about their plight. This perceived isolation can worsen their feelings of victimhood, reinforcing the belief that their struggles are unique or insurmountable. They might pull away from friends, family, and support systems, further entrenching themselves in their negative mindset. Rather than reaching out for help, self-pity encourages withdrawal, making it more difficult to find the compassion and perspective needed to heal and grow. This sense of separation from others also fosters a negative outlook on relationships, as the person in self-pity may begin to view others as indifferent or unsupportive, even when that's not the case. In many ways, self-pity, is a form of avoidance. By focusing on their misfortunes and indulging in feelings of helplessness, people may avoid facing the work required to improve their situation. Whether it's confronting difficult emotions, addressing personal shortcomings, or taking action to overcome challenges, self-pity keeps them stuck in a state of passivity. The person becomes consumed by their victim narrative, believing that nothing they do will make a difference. This mentality not only fosters a sense of powerlessness, but also robs them of their agency. Over time, they may become more and more dependent on external sources of validation, waiting for someone to rescue them from their problems, rather than realizing that they have the power to change their circumstances. Self-pity also has a significant impact on one's mental and physical health. The prolonged state of negative thinking and emotional stagnation can contribute to the development of anxiety, depression, and other stress-related disorders. It can also lead to physical symptoms such as fatigue, insomnia, and a weakened immune system. Constantly dwelling on one's struggles can trigger the body's stress response, flooding the system with hormones like cortisol that, when released over an extended period, can cause damage to the body. This not only exacerbates the emotional pain, but can also lead to physical ailments that further entrench the cycle of self-pity. In some cases, the individual might even begin to associate their identity with their suffering, viewing themselves as perpetually unlucky or doomed to failure. However, the key to overcoming self-pity is self-awareness and a willingness to take responsibility for one's own happiness. Recognizing when self-pity begins to take hold is the first step in breaking free from its grasp. This requires a shift in perspective, moving from a victim mentality to one of empowerment. It involves accepting that while there are circumstances beyond one's control, there is always something that can be done to improve the situation. The road to recovery is not easy, and it requires emotional strength, but it's possible. Developing a positive mindset, seeking support from others, and taking proactive steps to address personal challenges can help individuals break free from self-pity and begin to embrace the possibility of change and growth. In the end, self-pity may offer temporary relief from pain, but it rarely leads to lasting solutions. Embracing responsibility for one's life, facing challenges head-on, and seeking growth and support are the true paths to overcoming hardship and moving forward in life. Number 7. Clutter, physical and mental. Clutter, both physical and mental, has become an increasingly significant concern in modern society. While they may seem separate, physical clutter and mental clutter often overlap and feed into one another, creating a cycle of stress, overwhelm, and distraction. Physical clutter refers to the accumulation of items in our living or workspaces that are not only unnecessary, but also hinder our ability to function efficiently. It can range from piles of papers, unused furniture, or overflowing closets, to a general sense of disorganization that prevents us from finding what we need when we need it. This type of clutter has been shown to contribute to feelings of stress, anxiety, and even depression, as it often signifies a lack of control over one's environment. The constant visual reminder of disorganization can make it difficult to focus, increasing mental fatigue and decreasing productivity. On the other hand, mental clutter is the chaotic state of our minds, where an overabundance of thoughts, worries, tasks, and emotions compete for attention. Mental clutter arises from our inability to prioritize or from feeling overwhelmed by too many responsibilities. Just like physical clutter, it can make it hard to concentrate and focus on important tasks. People with mental clutter often feel like they are constantly juggling thoughts or trying to keep up with an endless to-do list. This mental overload is linked to burnout, anxiety, and difficulty in decision-making. When our minds are cluttered, it can seem like we're spinning in circles, unable to make any meaningful progress or find clarity. The connection between physical and mental clutter is strong. A cluttered space can lead to a cluttered mind, and vice versa. When our physical surroundings are disorganized, it can trigger mental disarray. For example, coming home to a messy house after a long day at work can make it difficult to unwind or relax. It can feel like the tasks that need to be done are never ending. Similarly, if we are mentally overwhelmed, we may neglect our surroundings, adding to the growing pile of physical clutter. This cycle creates a feedback loop. Physical clutter exacerbates mental clutter, which then feeds back into more physical clutter. This dynamic makes it crucial to address both forms of clutter to restore balance. The consequences of clutter are far-reaching. For one, it affects our productivity and effectiveness. In a cluttered space, finding items or focusing on a task becomes harder, which slows down progress and creates frustration. In terms of mental health, clutter has been linked to higher levels of stress and anxiety. Studies suggest that living in a disorganized environment can trigger the body's stress response, leading to the release of cortisol, the stress hormone. Over time, chronic stress can impact one's physical and emotional well-being. Moreover, clutter can also affect relationships, as one person's disorganization may cause tension or disagreements in shared spaces. However, the good news is that both physical and mental clutter can be managed and reduced with conscious effort. Starting with physical clutter, it is essential to declutter by regularly assessing the items in your environment and removing what is no longer needed. This doesn't mean discarding everything, but rather creating a system of organization that allows for ease of access and promotes a sense of calm. This can be achieved through simple methods like organizing paperwork, clearing off countertops, or minimizing the number of personal items that don't serve a functional or emotional purpose. For mental clutter, the approach is more introspective. One effective method is mindfulness or meditation, which helps to clear the mind and reduce the constant flow of thoughts. Writing down thoughts, worries, and tasks can also provide clarity and relieve the burden of holding everything in the mind. Setting aside dedicated time for planning, prioritizing tasks, and learning to say no to unnecessary commitments can help alleviate mental clutter as well. By addressing both physical and mental clutter, individuals can create a more organized, peaceful environment that promotes better focus, productivity, and emotional well-being. The process may take time, but the benefits of a decluttered life, mentally and physically, are worth the effort, leading to greater clarity, peace of mind, and a more balanced existence. Number 8. The illusion of control. The illusion of control is a psychological concept that explains how people often believe they have more influence over outcomes than they actually do. This cognitive bias can manifest in various aspects of life, from gambling to decision-making, and even in day-to-day tasks. At its core, the illusion of control is the tendency to overestimate one's ability to influence events, especially those that are inherently unpredictable or beyond their control. This phenomenon is most pronounced in situations involving chance or uncertainty, such as playing games of dice, participating in lotteries, or betting on sports. In these contexts, individuals may feel that their actions, whether it's a specific gesture, choice, or thought, can impact the outcome even when the result is purely random. For example, a person playing a game of roulette might develop a sense of control over the spin of the wheel by concentrating or choosing certain numbers even though the game operates on pure chance. This illusion extends beyond games and chance events. People often believe they can predict or control the course of events in their personal or professional lives, even in situations with a high degree of uncertainty, like stock market investments or the success of a new business venture. This overconfidence can be both beneficial and harmful. On the one hand, it can lead to a sense of empowerment and motivation. When individuals believe they have control over their outcomes, they may be more persistent, take on challenges, and work toward their goals with determination. The belief in control can boost confidence, increase effort, and enhance resilience in the face of setbacks. On the other hand, the illusion of control can also be detrimental. It can lead to poor decision-making, risk-taking behavior, and an unrealistic sense of mastery. When people believe they can control events that are largely beyond their influence, they may make choices that are not grounded in reality. For instance, someone who thinks they can control the outcome of a financial investment through intuition may overlook important risk factors or fail to diversify their portfolio adequately. Similarly, in a work environment, a leader who overestimates their ability to control every aspect of a project might micromanage their team, which can create frustration, reduce productivity, and stifle innovation. Moreover, the illusion of control can perpetuate a cycle of blame when things go wrong. People who overestimate their ability to control outcomes may struggle to accept failure, as it contradicts their belief in their own mastery over situations. This can lead to feelings of disappointment, self-blame, and frustration. They may refuse to acknowledge external factors or chance events that played a role in the outcome, focusing instead on their own perceived shortcomings. For example, if a business venture fails despite their best efforts, they may attribute the failure solely to their own lack of skill or preparation, overlooking external market forces or economic conditions. This illusion also plays a significant role in consumer behavior. Many marketing strategies exploit this bias, encouraging consumers to believe that purchasing a particular product or service will give them control over aspects of their life, such as health, beauty, or success. Advertisements that suggest a product will provide instant results or promise guaranteed success appeal to the desire for control, often offering a false sense of empowerment. In reality, these outcomes are frequently influenced by external factors or chance, which are beyond the consumer's control. In conclusion, the illusion of control is a pervasive cognitive bias that shapes how people perceive their influence over events, often leading them to overestimate their ability to control outcomes. While it can enhance motivation and resilience, it can also result in overconfidence, poor decision-making, and a failure to account for external variables. Recognizing this bias is crucial for making more informed choices, managing expectations, and accepting the role of randomness in life. Understanding the limits of control can lead to more balanced decision-making and ultimately contribute to greater well-being and success. Number 9. Negative self-talk. Negative self-talk is a pervasive and often insidious pattern of thinking that can greatly impact our mental and emotional well-being. It refers to the internal dialogue where individuals criticize, judge, or belittle themselves, reinforcing feelings of inadequacy, guilt, or worthlessness. This kind of self-talk is not just a fleeting thought. It can become a habitual mindset, shaping how we perceive ourselves and interact with the world. At its core, negative self-talk distorts reality, leading us to focus on perceived flaws or mistakes, often overlooking our strengths and accomplishments. Over time, this mindset can create a cycle of self-doubt and anxiety, diminishing self-esteem and increasing vulnerability to stress. One of the most damaging aspects of negative self-talk is its subtlety. It often begins as an innocuous comment in our minds, such as "I'm not good enough" or "I'll never be able to do this." These thoughts may seem minor at first, but when repeated over time, they gain power and can start to define how we view ourselves. For example, if we fail at a task, we might tell ourselves, "I always mess things up." Instead of seeing failure as an opportunity to learn, the self-talk reinforces the idea that we are inherently incapable, deepening feelings of frustration and defeat. The impact of negative self-talk extends beyond individual thoughts. It can influence our behaviors, relationships, and even physical health. When we continuously tell ourselves that we are not good enough or that we will never succeed, we may be less likely to take risks or pursue opportunities. Fear of failure can prevent us from trying new things or stepping outside of our comfort zones, ultimately limiting our growth. Furthermore, these negative beliefs can spill over into how we interact with others, leading to misunderstandings, conflict, or social withdrawal. If we believe we are unworthy of love or respect, it can affect our relationships and prevent us from seeking support when we need it most. The physiological effects of negative self-talk are also significant. Chronic negative thinking is associated with higher levels of stress and anxiety, as it triggers the body's fight-or-flight response. This constant state of heightened stress can lead to various health problems, such as sleep disturbances, fatigue, and weakened immune function. The mind-body connection is undeniable, and negative self-talk can contribute to a range of physical ailments, making it even more important to address this harmful thought pattern. Breaking free from negative self-talk requires awareness and effort. The first step is recognizing when negative thoughts arise and identifying the patterns behind them. Once we become aware of these thoughts, we can challenge their validity, and replace them with more constructive, realistic perspectives. This process, known as cognitive restructuring, encourages individuals to question the accuracy of their self-criticism and reframe it in a more positive light. For instance, instead of thinking, "I'm terrible at this," one might reframe the thought to, "I may not have mastered this yet, but I am capable of learning and improving." In addition to cognitive restructuring, self-compassion plays a crucial role in overcoming negative self-talk. Being kind to oneself rather than berating oneself for mistakes or shortcomings fosters a sense of acceptance and self-worth. Self-compassion involves recognizing that everyone faces challenges and makes mistakes, and it encourages a more balanced, understanding approach to personal growth. Lastly, seeking professional support, such as therapy or counseling, can be an invaluable resource for individuals struggling with persistent negative self-talk. Therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, are specifically designed to help individuals identify and change negative thought patterns, providing tools for managing and reducing self-criticism. In conclusion, negative self-talk is a destructive force that can shape how we view ourselves and our potential. It has far-reaching effects on our mental, emotional, and physical health. However, with awareness, self-compassion, and the right strategies, it is possible to break free from the cycle of negative self-talk and build a healthier, more positive mindset. By learning to challenge and replace these harmful thoughts, we can pave the way for greater self-acceptance, resilience, and overall well-being. Number 10. Procrastination. Procrastination is a pervasive issue that affects people across all walks of life, often leading to frustration, anxiety, and a sense of unfulfilled potential. At its core, procrastination is the act of delaying or postponing tasks, despite knowing the negative consequences that may arise from such behavior. It is not simply a matter of laziness, but rather a complex interplay of psychological, emotional, and environmental factors. Understanding why we procrastinate is the first step in addressing this behavior, and it requires us to look beyond surface-level excuses. One of the primary reasons for procrastination is the overwhelming feeling that a task is too big or daunting. The sheer scale of a project or responsibility can cause anxiety, leading us to avoid starting altogether. This avoidance often stems from a fear of failure or perfectionism, where individuals feel that unless they can complete a task perfectly, it's better to do nothing at all. Unfortunately, this creates a cycle of inaction, where the problem only intensifies the longer we delay. Another significant factor contributing to procrastination is a lack of motivation or interest in the task at hand. When we are not genuinely engaged or excited about something, it can be incredibly difficult to summon the energy and focus required to complete it. This is especially common in tasks that feel monotonous, irrelevant, or tedious, as the brain naturally gravitates toward more stimulating activities that offer instant gratification, such as social media or entertainment. In this sense, procrastination becomes a coping mechanism, albeit an unhealthy one, that provides temporary relief from discomfort, but only exacerbates the underlying issues. Time management is another critical aspect of procrastination. Often people fail to accurately assess how much time they need to complete a task, or how long they can continue to delay without facing serious consequences. This misjudgment leads to a false sense of security, where the individual convinces themselves that they have all the time in the world, even when deadlines are fast approaching. The modern world, with its constant bombardment of distractions, has only made this problem worse. With easy access to technology and the internet, it's easier than ever to lose track of time and waste precious hours on trivial activities. One of the most insidious aspects of procrastination is how it affects our mental health. As tasks pile up and deadlines loom closer, feelings of guilt, stress, and shame often follow. Procrastinators may experience a constant internal struggle, torn between the desire to start and the overwhelming dread of failure. This internal conflict can contribute to anxiety, making it even harder to take action. Furthermore, procrastination can lead to a significant loss of self-confidence, as individuals begin to question their ability to complete tasks or meet expectations. While procrastination can be harmful, there are strategies to combat it. One effective method is breaking tasks down into smaller, more manageable steps. By tackling a project in smaller chunks, it becomes less intimidating and progress is more easily tracked. Another strategy is setting clear, specific goals and deadlines which help create a sense of urgency and accountability. Additionally, finding ways to boost motivation, such as rewarding oneself for completing milestones, can be highly effective. Eliminating distractions, setting boundaries around technology use, and creating a conducive work environment are also crucial in minimizing procrastination. It's important to remember that overcoming procrastination is not an overnight process. It requires self-awareness, persistence, and a willingness to confront the underlying fears or lack of motivation that drive the behavior. By adopting practical techniques and changing our mindset, we can take control of our time and productivity, ultimately leading to a more fulfilling and less stressful life. Number 11. Overindulgence. Overindulgence is a concept that has been both praised and criticized throughout history. It refers to the excessive consumption of something, whether it be food, drink, material goods, or even behaviors such as work or entertainment. At its core, overindulgence is a pattern of excess that often crosses the line from enjoyment to harm. While indulging in something in moderation can be fulfilling and even beneficial, overindulgence tends to lead to negative consequences, both for the individual and for society at large. The desire to overindulge is often driven by a need for immediate gratification, an escape from stress or discomfort, or simply a failure to recognize the long-term effects of excessive behavior. The most obvious example of overindulgence is related to food and drink. People often find themselves eating or drinking more than necessary, seeking comfort in unhealthy options, or enjoying too much of a good thing. This can lead to obesity, health issues like diabetes, and other related diseases. The modern world, with its easy access to fast food, sugary snacks, and alcohol, makes it easier than ever to fall into these traps. Emotional eating, driven by stress or boredom, is another common cause of overindulgence in food. Rather than addressing the root cause of emotional turmoil, individuals may choose to numb their feelings with food, leading to a cycle of short-term relief, followed by long-term regret and health consequences. Overindulgence can also extend to material goods. In an era of consumerism, there is constant pressure to acquire more, whether it's the latest gadgets, clothing, or luxury items. While these possessions may bring fleeting happiness or status, they often fail to provide lasting satisfaction. People who overindulge in material goods may feel a temporary sense of euphoria when making a purchase, but soon, the novelty wears off, and they are left feeling empty. This can lead to a constant cycle of consumption, where the pursuit of material wealth becomes an endless quest that never fully satisfies. Over time, this habit can lead to financial strain, clutter, and an inability to appreciate the simpler, more meaningful aspects of life. Psychologically, overindulgence is often a coping mechanism. In a world filled with pressures and challenges, individuals may turn to overindulgence in various forms as a way to manage their emotions or distract themselves from their problems. For example, someone may binge watch television shows or spend excessive time on social media to avoid confronting personal issues. While these activities can provide temporary relief, they often prevent the person from engaging in more productive or fulfilling pursuits. Over time, overindulgence in entertainment or virtual worlds can cause individuals to withdraw from real-life connections and responsibilities, further isolating them from reality. The consequences of overindulgence are not just personal. They can have a societal impact as well. When individuals consistently overindulge in material consumption, it puts a strain on the environment. The production, transportation, and disposal of goods contribute to pollution, waste, and the depletion of natural resources. The growing trend of overindulgence also perpetuates a culture of comparison, where individuals feel pressured to measure their worth against others based on the possessions they own or the experiences they have. This can foster a sense of inadequacy, fueling a never-ending pursuit of more and better things. Ultimately, The key to avoiding the pitfalls of overindulgence lies in mindfulness and moderation. Learning to recognize when something has crossed the line from indulgence to excess is crucial. Developing a greater sense of self-awareness and emotional intelligence can help individuals identify when they are overindulging as a form of coping or avoidance. Furthermore, embracing gratitude and contentment with what one already has can reduce the desire for more. It is important to remember that true fulfillment comes not from the quantity of things we possess or the amount of pleasure we experience, but from a balanced, meaningful life that prioritizes health, relationships, and personal growth. By recognizing the dangers of overindulgence, individuals can lead more intentional lives, fostering better physical, emotional, and psychological well-being. As we've seen today, the principles of Stoic philosophy offer timeless wisdom on how to eliminate distractions, unnecessary stress, and toxic behaviors from our lives. By quietly letting go of things like excessive worry, the need for approval, and the illusion of control, we can find peace and focus on what truly matters. Remember, Stoicism teaches us that it's not what happens to us, but how we respond to it that shapes our lives. By making small but deliberate changes, quietly eliminating negativity and distractions, we can live a more intentional, fulfilling life. So, take a moment to reflect. What is one thing you can eliminate today to live more in alignment with your true values? If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more insights into living a wiser, more stoic life. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay focused, stay calm, and keep improving.